All right, this will be the Coach Surratt interview in 3, 2, 1. Hello, sports fans. Larry Helen here at the KGAS studios, and alongside me, Scott Surratt, the head football coach and the athletic director at Carthage High School. Tonight, we are on the road. We'll be at Lindale to face the Lindale Eagles, game number 2. But first, we sure want to get Scott's comments about last week. Real quick recap here. Hallsville up at half, 17-6. Hallsville up 24-12, 4:01 to go in the third. We took the lead for the first time with 4:04 to play, 25-24, and then Jakeldrick Jackson, 55-yard interception with 1:36, and we're up by 8. And I'm sitting here looking at my stats, and Hallsville is 4 of 20 through the air for 25 yards. They've only got one timeout left, so you're thinking, it's going to be pretty tough for them to march down the field on the ground and score with only 1:36 to go and 68 yards to travel. Well, of course, they threw a 68-yard touchdown pass, then had to convert the two-pointer. They did. We went to overtime. They scored and kicked the extra point. We scored, went for 2 to win it, did not, and it was a heartbreaker of a loss. Real tough pill to swallow, but it's an August game. It's not an October, November, or December game. Big difference. So Scott, what did you see after you looked at it?
Well, first of all, you go to their last drive, and I don't know how we bust that. We had 4 deep, and we got 2 seniors that bid on a 5-yard out, and then he turned it up on the sideline, and it's really inexcusable. I heard Coach Preston say, "Don't let anybody behind you, and make sure everybody stays deep and things." And it happens when you get in the game. Some things, a lot of people there, and it gets wild and crazy and loud, and some kids react to different things, but we can't do that anymore. We've got to play smart football, and that's the reason they call it preseason games, and hopefully we can get all those crazy mistakes out of the way. And but the game was, I didn't see any stats. And Coach Mike come in on Sunday because we met a long time Friday night, several hours and things. Just wasn't happy on where we were. And offensively, mainly, I was talking to offensive staff mainly, and, he said, we had 615 yards, and I said, oh, really? And I said, it felt like 215 to me. I didn't think we executed it as well as we can and well as we have been, and then, penalties, crazy penalties, whether we're not getting set, hopefully first game things, very correctable things. That's what we told our team. There's a lot of times there's not things you can correct, but there is, all those things from the busted coverage at the end to the lining up off sides to the jumps and things, we can correct that. And I think you'll see us better at those things this week. But you give Hallsville the credit. They deserve to win the game. We made too many mistakes. I think we out-yardaged those 615 yards to like 380, 390, I don't know. But we don't get any yardage and all that stuff. And so we usually don't even look at it until Coach Mike told me. I mean, we've got a stat book and everything, but I don't look at it too much. But that's amazing.
All right, speaking of stats, here are some that I wrote down. Carthage 0 for 4 in 2-point conversions. Of course, that definitely entered into the outcome of the ball game. We were 1 for 1 in 1 point. And you may wonder, well, why did we try it 4 times, 2-pointers? Well, we went for it on the first touchdown, and as often is the case, when you don't make it on the first one, you're going to be trying that 2-point conversion later on in the ball game, maybe once, maybe more than once. Jared Blissett, 37 pass attempts in the first half. We don't have a record, at least I don't know of a record for pass attempts in a half, but that's got to be it, I would think. 63 pass attempts for the ball game. And,
I would imagine that both of those are records, I would imagine. Reason I don't know that. I mean, I know it's a record since I've been here. We've never thrown it 60 times since I've been here. We've been in the 50s, but we've never thrown it 60. But the reason that is, we snapped it 104 times, which is a record for us, 104 snaps. And, probably wondering why we didn't give it more to Hardy than run the ball more. And says, Ingram went down on us, and he was going to get a lot of carries. And he went down with a hip pointer early in the game. And then Hardy banged his shoulder. in the first half. He's in the training room with ice on his shoulder and IVs and things, and so he could only go so much. And that's what I tried to tell those guys, or especially early in the year. We don't want to give it to the tailback. We want to. We don't want to give it to the tailback 30 times a game, or he may not be there at the end of the season. That's kind of like an NFL back. Their lifespan is about 4 years, average.
Mm-hmm.
The lifespan of a tailback is 4 years in the NFL. It's because not only are they taking one hit on each carry, there's usually 3 or 4 guys hitting them. So if you look up and you got 8 carries, there's 4 guys hitting you. There's 32 hits. And so that's the reason tailbacks don't last long. And so we want to keep Hardy fresh. He's a good back for us, and we want him, when they really count. And we were working some things, and I heard one of our players, I wish we'd ran that on 2-point play or something. And my response is, if we have to run some crazy plays to win right now, we probably won't win. And I said we save those for the games that that really matter. And sure, they all matter. I'm not saying that, but for as us winning district, it doesn't matter, and us winning playoff games, it does not matter. What we do in the preseason, and we proved that before. And we're going to play a lot of players like everybody else. I'm not saying we've got a magic potion or anything, but we're evaluating. We're still in an evaluation stage and phase, and we saw lots of positives, and we saw some negatives, and we've got to get the negatives corrected. And some of it was just, like I said, stupid football, and we can correct stupid, and for the most part.
Here's another stat: 8 different players caught passes. I don't remember you having that high number. You really spread it around pretty good.
We did. We spread it around. I think we had 3 players almost in double digits in catches, and so that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. That's a positive that we're spreading it around. They can't key on one player, or can't key on JaKeldrick Jackson or Townsend or Gwynn or McLean or Ford. We got several guys we can throw it to, and so that is a positive, I think. And, we just got to get our backs healthy and kind of split the carries up right now. We get in a district game, and if Hardy's healthy, if it takes him 35 carries, let's roll. He just knows that, or whoever the number 1 back is, then we will give it to him 30, 35 times to win a district game. We will not right now.
All right, let's talk about the Lindale Eagles. Shut out Chapel Hill, and of course we know the type of talent Chapel Hill has. I read somewhere that Chapel Hill may have had a few players out, but nevertheless, Lindale with a very impressive victory. So what did you see on film?
Well, they did have they got after them, and I did talk to the coach sitting at Chapel Hill, and they had 2 or 3 linemen out, and Reggie King, one of their best players, did not play, number 12, and so they did have a few players out. I think their quarterback broke his foot early like the first series of the second half, which hurt him, and but it was no question the other night that Lindale out-yardaged them, they outplayed them, and they deserved to win. And Chapel Hill, they gave Chapel Hill very little offensively, so they're going to be all we can handle. They're tons better than they were last year. There's no doubt about that. And we'll see how much we've improved.
All right, tell us a little bit about the Eagles.
Well, first of all, you got the head coach's son. I think his name's Montana Metter, and he's the quarterback, and he does a good job managing the team and throw it. He's not near as much of a runner that is the Hallsville quarterback was, but he can throw it. And they got a couple good receivers, but they got to go with. You got to go. Their running back makes them go. He's really, really good. They put him in and inserted him in around 4th game last year, and he played very well in that 5A league that they're in, which is crazy. Lufkin, Ennis, John Tyler, all that crew, and he ran the ball very well against all those guys. So he's a very good back, and he's not going to tackle himself. He's not looking to get down when he's got 2 or 3 guys on him. He's looking to keep rolling. So we've got to stop him. They may throw it around on us, all over the yard, but if they do, they do. But we've got to be able to, control the run game. Defensively, they're by far the best front 4 we've seen through the 2 scrimmages and last week. And so we've got to, hold our own in there in the offensive line and hopefully win that battle. If we can win that battle, we feel good. Now, they got good corners, they got a good secondary, but we've got to win up front or we could be in trouble. And, we want to stay a little bit more balanced if we can. We've had to move, Mekhi Colbert may get the ball a time or two in there. May not, I don't know that, but, I don't think Ingram's going to be a go this week. So we'll see. He says it's getting close to game day, and he said our game time, and he said he's ready to go, but we just don't feel like he's ready to go right now. But we'll see how he runs around in pregame, see if he goes. But the kicking game is great, and our kicking game was just not very good the other night, obviously, and but I think we got a lot of that corrected. But their kicking game, he's going to kick it in the end zone or at least to the goal line ever deep. He made 2 field goals the other night, one of them from 40 plus. So and he's also a great punter. They'll rugby punt some, and then they'll punt straight up. But he's a really good punter.
Speaking of field goals, the Carthage record, I believe, is 46 yards by our kicker from last year, and his name escapes me right now. Well, all right. Well, anyway, it's 46 yards, I believe.
You talking about 2 years ago?
Or maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, Rafi was our kicker last year, too.
Okay, 2 years ago. My mistake.
That was, you had 2 of them, but Jimenez and, I'll think about it in a minute.
Okay. Well, anyway, Rafael Hernandez tried a 44-yarder, and I tell you what, I know if he were hitting it from 41, it would have been good, maybe 42, just a couple of yards shy. It was right down the middle. He really surprised me a little bit with his distance.
Well, he actually hit a, kind of, I mean, we did yesterday, he had a 47-yarder, been good from 55. And so he hit that a little high, because you know how high it went. He kicked it straight up. And if he had flattened it out a little bit and drove it a little more, he could have got it there. But, from my reports from our chain crew and Jason Harris, it was about 2 foot short. And that's what it kind of looks like on tape. And the kid was looking straight up at it, and it was coming straight down. So if he'd have flattened it out a little bit, he'd have made it. He's very accurate, but he shouldn't have come down to that. We had the touchdown call back on a very, very stupid penalty, which did not matter. Most of the time, the officials won't even call that when it doesn't have anything to do with the play, but they called it, and if it had been about a yard closer when they called it, then we may have got a win out of it. But you learn probably more from mistakes than you do a win. There's old saying that you don't overlook anything on a loss, but when you win something, you tend to overlook some things, and I don't think we overlooked anything. We've studied it, and made a lot of corrections, and we moved on to Lindale, and we're super excited to see how we can play on the road.
Volleyball, second place at Forney.
Yeah, they went up there and played great. They got beat by the number 1 6A team, DeSoto, and got beat in 2 games. I know they got a 6'4" girl going to Texas, DeSoto does, and like I said, they're number 1. And we got beat both games, but the last game was 25-23, and we actually had them 23-21. And so, in the first game, I think it was 25-15 or whatever, but we played very, very well up there and got second. And, they played very well. They kind of stomped their foot the other night and lost a couple to Lindale and Spring Hill, but, those are 2 really good teams too. So, Coach Barker does it kind of like what we do. We're going to play extremely good people before we get into district, or try to anyway. And, if we can stay healthy, then, survive the pre-district schedule by staying healthy, we'll be better for it.
All right. You mentioned Ingram may not go this week. You were uncertain about Callaway last week. He came up with a big touchdown on the fade in the end zone. Nice catch there. I assume he's okay now. Is that right?
He is. I think he's close to 100%, and so he's still ways away from where he was, but he's getting closer. And Roderick's got great ball skills, and we've got to get him the ball some, especially around the goal line.
All right, how about practice this week?
I thought practice has been great. It was hot. We went outside every day besides, I guess, Tuesday when it was raining. We were going outside that day, and we kind of got out there in the heat and got after it, and, we're preaching toughness right now, and it's a tough opening game when you play 200. There was 205 snaps, so they had a lot of cramps. We had some cramping going on, especially we had a couple offensive line cramping, and I don't think we've ever had many offensive line cramps, and other than I remember Cutter Clinton used to do that a little bit, but other than that, I don't think we've had any. So it was very, very good night for football, and we got in a lot better football shape just from playing those 205 snaps. So, but it's going to be really hot tonight, and we'll see how we can hold up to the heat.
All right, those are the comments of Coach Surratt, and hope you can join us. 7:30 is the kickoff over at Lindale. If you can't be with us there, KGAS 1590 AM or 103.7 FM. We'll be on the air at 7 o'clock with a look at the starting lineups. For Scott Surratt, I'm Larry Allen. Have a great weekend, everyone. I want to tell you, I was so upset with that judge the other night. Now, I didn't bring up, I started to, but I hadn't talked to you ahead of time. I didn't bring up Chalk Talk. Can we talk about it next week? Yes, sir. Okay.
Chalk Talk will be that next Friday. It's always the first Monday before Labor Day. I mean, after Labor Day.
Okay.
Larry, I'm sorry to
No, you're
interrupt. Don't leave, I need to ask you a question.
Yeah, you bet.
Blake Bowden shoots, Blake from